Blah.
Cinematic pop culture is full of all sorts of questions and mysteries. Like, for instance, in Pulp Fiction, you have the mysterious briefcase with the combination 666 that Marcellus Wallace sends his two guys out, Vince Vega and, Jules, to go and retrieve for him. Some say it's his soul. Some, it's left ambiguous. It's supposed to be nothing and everything. It's whatever you imagine it. Another one is Rosebud. What is Rosebud in Citizen Kane? These are like mysterious questions. Some of them have answers, others do not. And some are left open to interpretation. One of them, however, is at the beginning, before the title crawl in Star Wars, there are the famous iconic blue letters, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And it leaves some people, maybe not everybody, but some people wondering, who is saying this? Is somebody saying this? Is this like the beginning of a story? Is this a narrator? Who is responsible for speaking these words or writing these words? And for a long time, I had always thought maybe it was the droids, C-3PO and R2-D2, who span the whole trilogy, the original trilogy, and then they also obviously span the prequels, and now, to a much lesser extent, they span all 9 films. You see them in all 9 films. However, they are not the through line that they are in the way that they are in the original trilogy, or even in the prequel trilogy when it comes to the sequel trilogy. However, I had an epiphany one day when watching Return of the Jedi, and suddenly it dawned on me, who is speaking these words a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? And it's quite clear. And some people, I've posted this online, and some people are like, well, how do they even know what a galaxy is? Other people are like, they didn't, that wasn't, they didn't exist when that line was initially spoken. Initially Darth Vader wasn't Luke Skywalker's son. That stuff came later. So perhaps this came later as well. And it's this idea that when C-3PO, who is worshipped as a golden god by the Ewoks, he is the one, so it is C-3PO who is sort of like the progenitor, whatever that word is, of the story, but it is the Ewoks themselves, maybe Wicket's grandchildren, maybe generations from now. It is the Ewoks telling a campfire tale about the legendary Battle of Endor and everything that happened leading up to it, saying a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Because when C-3PO as a golden god he's telling the stories to the Ewoks of what happened in A New Hope as well as Empire Strikes Back. And he's doing it with the special vocal effects, yada, 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 XYZ 1, 2, 3. So this is how legends are born. This is how mythologies are born. And so the oral tradition of passing a story down is as old as time in human history. And, it's, very possible that it could extend to any life form's history, let alone Ewoks, fictional beings and whatnot. But just this idea that, in the same way that the Torah is like this oral tradition, the Torah is a story that, as far as we know, is, 5,000 years old per written text. But, when did the Torah written? I think it might have been written, maybe it's 3,000 years old. I don't know. But it is an old oral tradition that is many, many thousands of years old, spoken in the same language, unbroken chain, passed down from generation to generation to generation. And so I like to think that when a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away is being spoken, it is being spoken by some distant Ewok, of their tribe, many hundreds of years after the events of Star Wars, talking about what had happened. And some argue, again, I posted this online, and one response I got was, well, they're saying in a galaxy far, far away, and the Ewoks are in the same galaxy. But to Ewoks, they're like little forest dwellers. They're primitive forest dwellers, with a sort of like Stone Age civilization culture. The idea of the word galaxy, what does the word galaxy mean? Compared to star system. They say a star system far, far away. No, to them, it's all one big galaxy. They don't even have spaceships to travel. There's no Ewok spaceships carved out of stone that allow them to travel at warp speed to get to Coruscant or Tatooine or Dagobah or whatever, what have you, Bespa. So to them, all of it is a galaxy far, far away. So I like that, man. I think it really works. Is that canon? I don't know. It's canon to me. And, that's my favorite part about just being like a real lover of movies, is like inventing and sort of putting two and two together to sort of like stitch together things that are left open-ended or ambiguous, or, where no loop was closed. And in this case, maybe the details of who is saying it are unimportant, but you can find them within the original trilogy. And, it's like, it's getting wider. The net grows wider as they add on to the Star Wars mythology, as they build out the prequels and the sequels, and now they're doing another sequel trilogy. They're doing a sequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy with Rey. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but when you go back to those first three movies, those original movies for which a long time ago, a galaxy far, far away, and even when you just go to that first movie, I mean, it's nothing more than, the opening of a fairy tale book, right? Because the original trilogy is not meant to be taken like such a literal history. There's almost like there's a mythological aspect of everything that's happened. It's that timeless tale that's been adapted for a used future, right? It's space, in a space opera, right? Like the same variables in Star Wars, or the same, tenets of Star Wars could be plugged in to a medieval story, or, a story taking place during the Renaissance. It's the hero's journey, right? The hero's journey, the warrior of 1,000 faces or whatever. The hero's journey is supposed to be the monomyth, right? It's the monomyth. It could happen anywhere. You can plug it into anywhere. And so it has that kind of, Star Wars has that kind of feel. And then when you expand it out past that first movie into, Empire and Return of the Jedi, you're kind of getting this, like, it kind of works, man. It works. Like by the third movie, they figure out like, oh, there's these Ewoks, whatever. And maybe like we're closing it out. Maybe we're wrapping up, or we're finding out that the people who are speaking this narrative or telling this Star Wars story are actually this primitive species known as Ewoks on the forest moon of Endor. What do you think? Do you think that's possible? Do you think it's the droids? Is it someone else? Should it be taken super literally, that a galaxy far, far away literally means a galaxy far, far away? Or could galaxy be more malleable in definition and therefore really just mean, on another planet, just, far off somewhere in space within the same galaxy? I don't know. I want to hear what you have to think.